Hi, Jim. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes, I
sure
sure
can.
can.
Okay, sorry about that. Um, so we're going to do our presentation today. One of my computers decided not to work, so I'm going to go ahead and run everything from one screen. Can you see? Can you see my screen here, real quick?
Yep.
Okay, all right, great. All right, so let's get started. So today's presentation or live stream is going to be on SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization. And if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel or or Twitter, go ahead and click on your subscribe or follow button there. So, Jim, what we're going to talk about today specifically is SEO for B2B and B2B e-commerce. And I'm going to start this out actually with a video that we did that does a pretty good job of explaining some of the basics. Now, in this live stream, we're really just going to focus on very basic stuff. We're going to take a 10,000-foot view and we're going to go from there.
Okay.
So let's do that. We'll start out with the most basic, which is what is SEO? So SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization, and it's the process of improving the quality and quantity of website traffic to a website or web page from a search engine. And here's our short little video that goes into some of the details about that.
Let's talk about SEO a bit. A lot of people think it's some kind of magic, but that's not the case. Just take a look at it from your perspective. What do you do when you want to find something on the internet? You search for it, right? And then you click on one of the links on the first page of the search results. In fact, more than 90% of visitors will behave exactly the same way. Ever wonder how those web pages at the top of your search results got there? It's because they were search engine optimized. Exactly how search engines work is a closely guarded secret, but the main principles are known. They're based on two main factors, keywords and links. Let's focus on keywords first. Your chances for a better ranking grow when your website contains the same words that are being searched. Keywords are especially effective when they're found in a website title, address, or headings. But careful, quality over quantity should be your rule of thumb. Some so-called SEO experts try to fool the search engines with some ridiculous keyword occurrence instead of focusing on quality content first. And how about the links? Websites that link to yours basically tell search engines that you have some good stuff there. But again, quality over quantity. Links from irrelevant sites won't help you get a better rank. Now, what we've just talked about provides a basic introduction to SEO. In reality, it's not a simple task, and you'll definitely need someone to help you with it. Someone like us. We'll develop a custom SEO strategy specifically for your business. Identify the right keywords, write friendly site code, and figure out the best linking tactics. But most importantly, we'll help you find ways to provide high quality content for your visitors and search engines as well. So do not hesitate and contact us today. Let's talk about
All right, Jim, are you still there?
Yep,
Yep,
I
I
sure
sure
am.
am.
All right, great. So what we're going to talk about at this point is SEO in 7 easy steps. So if you're looking to do your own SEO, these are the things that you're going to want to do in order to improve your SEO and get more traffic to your website. So first one is you're going to create a list of keywords. Jim, do you know what a keyword is?
Well,
Well,
maybe you
maybe you
better
better
explain
explain
it.
it.
Okay, all right. So what a keyword is basically something that someone would type into Google. So think of yourself if you go searching for something, you want to buy some new tennis shoes. So you're going to type in, let's say maybe at a very basic tennis shoes. So tennis shoes would be a keyword. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that when someone types in tennis shoes, that they're going to be able to find your company in the search results, and they're going to be compelled to click on the link and to come over to your website. So keywords is pretty basic. It's just, the words that people are typing in. Um, Now, the reality is when you use something like Google, you don't type in just tennis shoes. You usually type in something like, I want to buy tennis shoes. But so in that case, Google will split it up into a couple different ones. You'll ignore some words like I want. um, but let's say buy tennis shoes is basically the keywords in that sentence. You want to analyze Google's first page. So what you want to do is you want to see how your competitors are using those keywords to get to the first page. and how that they're writing their articles or content and what they're doing to get onto the first page, and take note of that. Then from there, you want to create something different or hopefully better. You want to optimize what's called on-page SEO, and we'll talk about that in a moment. We want to optimize for search intent, and we'll talk about that also in today's presentation. And then we're going to want to focus on content design, make sure that it looks good from both a visual perspective, but also from Google's algorithm perspective. And you want to build links back to your web page. And for example, you might want to create a video on YouTube and put a link coming back to your page. That's called link building. So first step that you want to take is you want to use a keyword research tool. There's several good ones out there. SEMrush is one of the more popular ones. It's a little bit pricey, but it's very comprehensive, designed for someone who's a novice, and brings back a lot of information. As you see from their trusted companies that use it, it's a very popular tool. Something like SEMrush will help you identify the keywords that you need to look at, and from there you can build your SEO strategy around it. Another one that you can look at is something called Ubersuggest, and with Ubersuggest as well as SEMrush, what they'll do is when you're setting things up, you put in who your competitors are, and then it will analyze similar products and keywords that you have in your content with the keywords that they're using. And from there, it will give you suggestions of saying, okay, your competitor's getting a lot of traffic using these particular keywords. You're not getting as much traffic, so why don't you write some articles, improve some content? So it gives you a list of opportunities for you to take to increase the SEO of your website. So for example, in our demo store, it wants us to write something around storage bench fabric. So maybe we need to add that to our product descriptions a little bit more. Maybe we put together a blog article to talk about it, or something else. And then same thing with the beach grass wreath. And we already have some pages that are showing up on Google, but it wants us to optimize it because we're not getting as much traffic as we should. So this is kind of the inside of the Ubersuggest. It has lots of different analytical tools, uses some AI to go out and give you ideas of where to spend your time. How's that look, Jim?
Yep. I understood that.
Awesome. Now, when you're doing keyword research, before we talked about 10 issues, but in this one we're going to look at tomato plant. So you want to use what's called long tail keywords, because the short tail, the regular keywords are difficult to get ranked. So for example, tomato plant. So if someone came to us and said, hey, we want to create a page that's going to show up on page 1 for tomato plant, there'd be a lot of work to get that done. Not impossible, just we need to do some work. We have to have other people link back to us so Google can see that this is quality content, and go from there. But you'll notice that there's another one all the way down at the bottom, which is why are tomato plants turning yellow. So that particular one gets a lot less searches, but is a lot more specific to somebody's interest or intent at that particular time. So you'll notice with the generic keywords like tennis shoes, it's the intention to buy is pretty low. So even if you get someone to your website with that, chances are they're not going to buy from you. But if you were to, let's say, have a long tail keyword of, red Nike tennis shoes, then that's something more specific. That means someone's really looking to purchase something, and the conversion rate's going to be a lot higher. So using the two tools that we mentioned above, they'll do a good job of suggesting some longer tail keywords. They usually call it alternate keywords or suggested keywords. And you might want to make sure that you have content for the suggested keywords that you think that mostly applies to your products and services. Does that make sense, Jim?
Yeah, but I was wondering from the video,
Uh-huh.
it mentioned that you have to be careful about trying to insert these keywords if they change the content.
Um, yeah, well, you want to make sure that, if you're going to create a article on Nike tennis shoes, but you don't actually carry Nike tennis shoes, then you won't, then you're creating content that's just not going to get a lot of positive traction. It's just going to get a lot of abandonment and lower conversion rate. So the thing you really want to do is, at the end of the day, is to have it when someone types in, I want to buy tennis shoes from your website, that your keywords are there. So this way, whatever matches your particular products the best, you want to make sure that you have the long tail keywords for that. So let's say, for example, if you're selling, airplane parts made of aluminum alloy, then you want to make sure that, if someone types in, I want to buy an aircraft part um, built with aluminum alloy, you want to make sure that you have content on your webpage that matches the products that you have. The next thing we're going to take a look at is, there's lots of tools out there that helps you with what's called on-page SEO. And on-page SEO basically means your content itself. So, for example, with this one, it was looking to write an article on a long tail keyword, which is Godiva chocolate for gift baskets. So, as opposed to putting, let's say, chocolate for gift baskets, this one's really kind of focused. So, if someone types in Godiva chocolate for gift baskets, there's a good chance that this is going to show up on pages 1 and 2. Now, these particular type of tools, and there are several that's out there. You can type, SEO content writing in Google and see the different tools that's out there. They'll suggest some keywords that needs to be part of your content. So, for example, we'll see over here on the right, it wants us to mention Godiva chocolates between 1 and 3 times. We mentioned it 5, so it's starting to get a little bit of a yellow, because if you put it in too much, then Google will look at it as what they call keyword stuffing, which you don't want to do that. So you want to make sure that you're mentioning your keywords the right number of times, using the right type of headings. We'll talk about that in a moment. And so there's a little bit of an art to it. Now, the nice thing is, as you're developing your text, you're getting a score here. So in this particular tool, the top article only has a 34 as far as the on-page SEO. The top 10 averages out to 67. Now, the top one probably has a very high domain authority to it, and we'll talk about that in a moment as well. That's kind of your amplifier. So a company like Amazon, for example, doesn't need to worry about the on-page SEO as much because of the fact that their domain authority is so high. Google's going to automatically rank them higher. And so you'll notice that there's several here that's in green. That means the writing tool is telling us that we have the perfect number of mentions of these particular keywords. And then there's a couple that's here in red. For example, milk chocolate, we use 5 times. It wanted us to use it once. But just, we have to still make sure that it's readable. So we went ahead and, that's the way that we created that one. And then after that, you can create a blog. So for this particular one, it went, all the way to page 1 on Google. So, this company is now getting quite a bit of traffic from it. They paid for it once. They'll get that traffic for years. Next, we'll talk about optimizing product content. Actually, Jim, did you have any questions back on the SEO writers? Kind of went a little bit quick there.
No, I thought you were real clear.
Okay. Now, the other thing, just while I'm here, and we did talk about the H tag. So here we have an H1 tag. An H1 tag is Google recommends that you use it ideally once. You could use it a couple different times in the page if you're talking about different subjects, but ideally once. And what this is basically doing by putting this in the H1 tag is telling Google that this is the topic of this page. And then after that, we have normal text. And then here we have what's H2 text. So we're letting Google know that this is something else that's important to it, but it's part of the content. So we're kind of breaking it up there. We'll skip back skip over to optimize product content. So you want to make sure that you're optimizing your content for each one of your products. One of the reasons why we're having this presentation as a high level for SEO is because Jim and I talked with one of our clients that really didn't see a lot of benefits didn't really understand how SEO worked. Most of his products have 5 or 6 words in the product content, and there's no real use of other tricks. And then, of course, wants to know how we can get more volume, and this is how you get more volume. So you have to make sure that your images are SEO optimized. So you want to make sure that all of your keywords are attached to the pictures, alternate keywords. In this case, this company put a YouTube video, product video. So on this product video, it actually has links back to this page, this section. So that's helping us with our SEO, outside SEO, and increasing our domain authority score because we get a link back from YouTube. Over here, we have the proper use of the H tags. So we got an H1 tag here, H2 tags. We also are using some bold, which Google's going to take a look at the bold and italic here and put a little bit more emphasis on it, as well as SEO optimized content. So it's very, very important to have optimized product content. Jim, you have any questions on that?
No, that was pretty clear.
All right, awesome. The other thing that what we recommend to put on your pages for the product ones especially is product reviews, because the product reviews will actually be picked up by Google. So it's a way to get user-generated content to actually increase your SEO. So someone writes a long review about how much that they love these shoes and some of the qualities of the shoes and things that they like about the shoes. Then somebody, let's say, that's searching, I want comfortable shoes for baseball, and then someone said, hey, I bought some baseball shoes from this company and they were really comfortable. That's going to start to get noticed by Google.
So Gary, are you suggesting that you put the actual reviews on your website?
Yeah, absolutely. And in our last discussion, or our last live stream, remember we talked about there was 2 types of reviews. There's product reviews and website reviews. The last live stream, we talked about the importance pretty much of, we really emphasized on the company reviews and how that those can be put onto your homepage. So this way, to increase your conversion rate. When people come to your website, they see all these positive things that people have said about your company, and they feel comfortable moving forward and placing an order. In this case, what we're really talking about is product reviews, because they're giving more specific information that's going to show up on Google. So if you're selling shoes, they'll talk about how great the shoes are. If you're selling purses, they'll talk about how great the purse was. If you're selling aircraft aluminum alloy parts, they'll be talking about how great the aircraft aluminum alloy parts are. So whatever it is that your product has, you'll start getting content, user-generated content from the reviews. Looking at there's another part of the SEO, which we're not really going to go into a lot of detail in. But both of the 2 tools that I mentioned earlier can do what's called a technical SEO. And a technical SEO is just looking at things more from a technical perspective as opposed to a content perspective. So, for example, you notice that this particular website doesn't have a sitemax XML. Now, with our Connect Business product, we do have other XML files that Google can grab, but it's always good to create a sitemap XML file and put it into your root directory, and you can customize that on how you want the bots to interact. So maybe you don't want them going into certain areas of your website. You only want them to focus on, let's say, products and blogs. 335 pages have a low word count, and then that will give you a detail of what those are. So if you have a product with 6 or 7 words to it, Google's pretty much just going to throw your entire content out the window. And it goes into some other things. You notice there's 288 pages without H1 headings, so that's not good. Also, with the technical SEO, you can end up like tools like the Scriptly will go through in a little bit deeper, and it will take a look for things like broken images, also, meta tags that's not going, any missing alternate text that you have that you want to make sure that you have for SEO purpose as well. So this will give you more of a technical SEO. Now, before we talked about the domain authority and how important that is. So when you're first starting out, you basically have a domain authority of 0. So that's Google's way of basically saying, we don't know who you are and we don't trust your content. As your company progresses and you start to get more notice and you start to get more traffic and other people start linking back to you, then your domain authority starts increasing. So for example, you'll see this company, SEMrush, their domain authority is an 83, which is very, very good. Anything over a 30 or a 40 is pretty good. Now they're able to get that because they get a lot of traffic coming to their website, and they have 345 million backlinks to their website. So that's other websites, linking back to them. So that's that allows them to really increase their domain authority. Now, where this comes into play is, let's say you have two companies that are writing, going after the same market using the same keywords. The company with the higher domain authority will always show up higher on Google. So before we talked about the fact that the number one article for, or number one search result for Godiva chocolates had an article that was only a 39 on page SEO. Most likely is a company with a very high authority score, and the authority score is making up for the fact that the on site SEO content score is lower. So it's a little bit confusing. Does that make sense to you, Jim?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So, the longer you've been around, Google's going to take that into consideration. The more companies linking back to you, Google's going to take that into consideration because they believe a company that's been around for a long time and other companies are referring to their content. That means the content must be pretty good.
Now, Gary, you mentioned earlier about the backlinks. You have to make sure that they're related.
Yeah, so you'll notice here, this one has 346 million backlinks. Obviously, this company is not going through them one by one, but a good tool like this one will show you, what the backlinks are and how much is being sent to you. Now, one of the things that you really need to be careful with is, like, there'll be some companies that will say, hey, I'll get your domain authority up to 50 in 30 or 60 days, and then they have all these websites and that they use, and people that will kind of stuff your link there, and then after a little while you'll notice that they start pulling that back, or where they ended up putting your link on a bunch of like you ever type in like Google wrong, or let's say digital cameras wrong, and it pops up with like a page that has some links. Those are pages that are being used by other companies to get SEO. But if let's say your domain authority is a 20 and a bunch of websites that domain authority is like 6 or 7 pointing to you, it actually brings you down. So you have what's called toxic links. So you want to, there's ways to block the toxic links, because if you have a bunch of toxic links coming back to you, then Google's going to assume that you're doing something fishy, and you don't have quality links coming back to you. So they're going to start actually penalizing you for those toxic backlinks. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Now, in a tool like SEMrush, if I click into the backlinks, it's going to tell me like, something like, 250 million are, very good, 50 million's okay, and 900,000 is toxic. And then, from there you work to get rid of those 900,000. But there's tools to automate some of that. And Google does allow you to send a list to them rejecting link backs too. So lots of different options, but ultimately it takes some research, it takes some understanding. It does take a little bit of education on how to make sure that you're getting the backlinks and that the backlinks are quality and they're helping raise your domain authority and not bringing your domain authority down. Are you confused yet, Jim?
Not yet. That made sense.
Okay, yeah, it gets a little bit confusing with the backlinks, that's for sure. Now the one thing I do want to mention, and we're starting to just wrap this one up too, is SEO is like a tennis match. When we go to do SEO for a client, what we'll do is we'll take 4 or 5 of their biggest competitors. We'll see which keywords are driving traffic to their website on similar products. In some cases, it's almost the same product, and then we'll target those. So maybe that company was getting 400 or 500 people a month coming from Google, all to themselves. Now there's maybe splitting it with our customers, so they notice that our customers may be starting to get as much, if not more. So then they may up their game a little bit on those keywords and start adding in some videos, optimizing the content a little bit more. Um, Making creating some more backlinks to those pages to get the domain authority up. So we like it to a tennis match because it's a constant volley. It's we search the competitors, we see what's working for them. We continue to do the things that's working well for our clients, add on the things that's working good for their competitors, and then of course that increases their sales. But just at the same time that we're doing that, their competitors are doing it too. They just notice that our customers stole half their traffic, and they're formulating their plan to try to get most of that back. So SEO is not a one-time only thing. The technical SEO stuff is pretty much a one-time only thing. As you add more products, you just have to make sure that you're doing the technical things. But by and large, SEO is an ongoing process. It's not a one and done process. And if you do it right, then you'll drive significant traffic to your website. You'll increase your conversion rates and drive. For most companies, it's where they make the majority of their revenue. Jim, we're going to start to wrap things up. Was there any questions that you had on just an overview of SEO that we just didn't cover in this?
No, just like you said in the beginning, it's an overview. There are a lot of details I want to learn in future presentations.
Yeah, and in future live casts, we're going to get a little bit more into detail. We don't want to do these, 2-hour live casts, live streaming events. We'll just put people to sleep. But so this one was the high level overview of it. Hopefully, each and every one of you that's viewing this has got some good information from this, and they're going to be able to take that and understanding their business, maybe wait for the next live streaming event when we get into some of these things in more detail, or if they just want to sign up with one of those 2 services. They both have tutorials on how to do things to get you a little bit more deeper into how to use their tools to accomplish some of this. And or if they want to sign up with Entice and just have us do everything for them and they can focus on other areas of their business, then we're more than happy to accommodate that as well. This was a quote that we used in the previous meeting, and I'll use it again. In 2004, good SEO made you remarkable on the web. Today, good SEO is a result of being remarkable on the web. So, with the SEO, it's really, content. They say content is king. Make sure that you have great pictures. Make sure that those pictures are optimized for speed. There's tools out there that will help you optimize the size of the pictures to make sure that they're the smallest possible. Make sure that when you add those pictures that you add the alt tags. So if somebody is, let's say, looking for red tennis shoes and they click on images, they'll see your red tennis shoes. Make sure also that your product content is is optimized to not only how your product works, but also keywords that people are typing in. It's interesting. Sometimes we write these product descriptions that are very different than what the customer had originally because of the fact that we have to make sure that we get those keywords in there. Use product reviews if you need to. We have customers that have question and answers on their website, which also creates user generated content. If you have other information about your products, use that. With Connect Business, starting with version 22, we have the ability to put category tags and some other additional things onto your product pages. And we'll cover some of that in a future video. Make sure that you use YouTube to create videos and to link those back to your website. And if you have products with things that are very specific as far as their functionality, think about writing, blog articles for them. Maybe put content on a website like medium.com, which has, I think, a domain authority of 99 and allows for guest writers to write things. If there's particular user groups that are interested in the type of products that you have, get active in those, put links back. Lots of different ways to grow your business. And, this is, it takes 6 to 9 months sometimes to see any results, but you will see results and it will help you grow your business. So, going back to Entice, we have the team to be able to bring all these things together. We have the expertise, we have the experience, we have the knowledge. The real big benefit of Entice is it's, very affordable, and the fact that you can really focus on your business and not have to get distracted with all of these other things. You don't have to worry about employees calling in sick. You don't have to worry about hiring people, firing people, people not understanding. We'll take care of it all for you. We have a full team. So Entice, it's work smarter, not harder. And Jim, unless that you have anything else that you want to add.
No, I'm okay.
All right, we'll wrap this one up and put it in the books. All right, thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, have a great day.